All right. Hello, good morning, and welcome in everybody to the pre-market prep session for July 6th, 2023. I'm your host, Adam Holland, a professional cool guy with sunglasses still, since for some reason they wouldn't drop off my curtains last night, y'all. They said that there was delivery attempted. I don't know what that means. Literally, all you have to do is leave it at my doorstep. But I left more specific instructions this time. So they're going to try and re-deliver them today. Not gonna lie though, I'm not handy, so they probably won't be up till next week. So you'll get sunglasses Adam probably for the remainder of this week because the Adam that you know and love is not handy at all. So I will not be hanging these curtains. We'll be outsourcing some help here to get these babies up, but hopefully we'll have them up and rolling by next week. Other than that, guys, welcome. Good morning, Vivian. Good morning, Carla. Good morning. Hope you guys had a nice, restful, restorative night's sleep. Got out this morning, got my run in. So feeling good, right? Feeling energized from that. Not gonna lie, my foot was driving me up a wall. Got a bum left foot, but we pushed through this morning, made it happen. So I'm very, very kind of encouraged behind that. Coco, good morning. Not every morning is gonna be easy morning, but it's important to still push despite that. So I've also got my curtain lights coming in. I've got my normal lights from the last place, but until I get the blackout curtains, there's no real use in turning the lights on. But I'm really excited to get those curtain lights set up. I think those come like end of next week. So beginning of next week should have the curtains. Then I should have a full kind of new setup behind me by next week as well, like kind of end of next week. So I'm excited for that. Something to look forward to here. Let me grab, sorry, I got something hanging out of my hydro flask. If you guys didn't know, I'm like very kind of OCD, need to have all my stuff together. But let's go ahead and dive into what we got going on this morning. Everyone is abuzz with our breaking headline, which is the Twitter killer. Instagram has launched Threads, its short posting text app. As Meta platform CEO Mark Zuckerberg takes on Elon Musk and Twitter after signaling a launch expected for Thursday with pre-order links set up only for the iOS Threads app. Meta released its app Wednesday evening on Apple's App Store as well as an Android app for Google Play. Let's do this, Zuckerberg declared. Welcome to Threads. The response from Elon: it is infinitely preferable to be attacked by strangers on Twitter than indulge in the false happiness of the hide the pain Instagram. Snapshot: as with Twitter, users can post short text, links, pics, and videos, as well as repost messages from others and reply to items. Threads subscribers can additionally use their existing Instagram usernames to bring over information, including lists of followers. That is probably the biggest, kind of positive with Instagram's ecosystem is the interoperability. This is something that Congress probably should have stopped in order to prevent a monopoly, and they didn't. They're about 2 years too late. So that was kind of the big race for Instagram, was to make sure that the back end was too convoluted to break them up. And of course, as is with democracy and old people that are out of touch that are leading the country, it was just too late, right? It was too late, and they integrated WhatsApp, Messenger, and Instagram, all the back ends of them, right? So it's like, imagine if somebody's like, hey, you got to take this TV out of your wall. You're like, actually, this TV is connected underneath the walls or behind the walls to all the other TVs in the house. So I move this TV, it's going to mess up all the other TVs in the house. And that just doesn't make any sense. That's where we are right now with Meta. So, they've integrated, same thing. Threads will also be integrated. It's very convenient. I tried it and made a little Threads account, and it's very easy. You can follow all the accounts that you have on Instagram, and they can follow you immediately. So, I just went on and was like, yeah, sure, follow all the accounts that I already follow. And I'm sure people probably did the same thing. So it's kind of nice in terms of the operability, right? The user interface is pretty simple, pretty intuitive. It's literally just Twitter, but with Meta running it. So classic zucking, right? This is an A1 zucking move where you have Mark Zuckerberg that goes and copies anything that you don't let him purchase, right? He did it with Snapchat. Same thing, right? That's what turned into Instagram stories. He did it with TikTok, so turned into Instagram Reels. right? Literally any company and every company that he likes or that is doing well, he's either going to buy it or he is going to copy it. And that's what he says pretty much in plain words with the fledgling CEOs that he meets with. So he's not very shy about it. That's his strategy. It's very apparent. And no one has done anything to stop him as of right now. So let's see here. Snapshot, as with Twitter, let me see here. Users can post. Okay, so we already talked about that. Bring over information, including lists of followers. The timing of the launch is fortuitous for Meta, as recent technical changes at Twitter have frustrated some longtime users of the platform. A rate limit feature restricting how many posts could be viewed on Twitter left a number of its features broken. Musk also directed that users could no longer view tweets without being logged into the service themselves. So it seems like he likely is doing all this in response to Meta launching their platform, because he knows that Meta is using artificial intelligence to scrape data from Twitter, and he doesn't want that. So really, people think, oh, why would you limit the number of posts that someone can see, right? Like, this is in China. You can't control how much social media we take in, but he's not doing it for the consumer. He's doing this so that Meta cannot scrape basically all of Twitter's algorithm and the way Twitter works from Twitter using bots, right? That's what he's trying to prevent, because they're dropping their version of Twitter. So that's essentially what's going on here. But those recent technical changes caused some issues that made people, kind of annoyed with Twitter. Let's see here. Musk also directed the users can no longer view tweets without being logged into the service themselves. Quote, the family of apps segment consists of products such as Facebook, one of the world's largest social networks, Instagram, and two messaging apps, Messenger and WhatsApp. Seeking Alpha analyst Nathan Eisenstadt wrote in What to Expect from Meta Platforms in 2023. Interest in Threads is heating up thanks to a verbal skirmish between Elon Musk and Mark Zuckerberg, which, although unlikely, can lead to a fight between them. On a larger scale, we expect the number of users of the company's platforms will continue to grow, not only due to the launch of new services, but also the growth of the world's population. If you notice, like, what is Meta trying to do? Meta's trying to get ingrained in, how humans operate. If you can have eyes on one of your applications as much as possible, you can take in the most data and extract the most money, right? You can get better targeted ads, all of that stuff. Especially with AI, the battle for eyes heats up even more, because that's more data that you can analyze and more that you can understand humans. And the more you understand humans, the more you understand how to sell them, what moves them, what drives them. You can get targeted, very, very AI specific targeted ads, right? So for someone, they might say, oh, I'm struggling with eczema, but in specific, this type of eczema. So they might see, oh, that I'm WhatsApp messaging that to my mom, like, oh, hey, I have this specific type of eczema. I'm kind of struggling with it. Next thing you know, boom, ad, right? But it's not just a normal ad. It's an ad that's tailored to how I speak and how I like to be spoken to, based off of an AI breakdown of the content that I enjoy. So this is just theoretical, of course, but it's where every logical person would go with this, is breaking down, okay, what type of content do you enjoy? How do I speak to you? And then it's going to be, okay, what do you need, right? We already know that they're listening now. Whatever you say that, hey, I need this, or I like Jeeps, or, I like Chryslers, or da-da-da, whatever you say, right? You know that you're going to get ads on your phone because they're listening. Now it's not just going to be, hey, buy this new Jeep. It's going to say, let's say you are, I don't know, you speak Victorian English. It's going to, alas, brethren, investeth in thou self in this Jeep Grand Cherokee, right? It's going to make the ads even more targeted. So that's really kind of the aim with all of these companies, is to kind of take in as many eyes as possible, so you can tailor those ads to make them as specific as possible, right? And that's really what they're looking to do. And AI is going to allow them to do it a lot better. What are they doing it for? To continue to run our pockets. So getting competitive. Once upon a time, the biggest tech giants staked out their own territory by growing their own market share. They largely expanded within their own designated niches like internet search, operating systems, e-commerce, and consumer electronics. But recently, those lines have become more blurred. Apple's privacy features wiped out billions in revenue from Meta's targeted advertising model, and the two now compete on mixed reality headsets. Amazon Web Services, Microsoft Azure, and Google are also duking it out in the cloud, while the latter two companies are continuing to butt heads in the emerging AI space. So yeah, it's really like tech has just grown so big. I mean, when you have a company like Apple that has a $3 trillion market cap, nothing is off limits to them. So they were growing within their own corners until it became clear that if they wanted to own the whole room, they had to encroach on other people's corners. And we all know they're not going to stop the growth. So now they end up at war, right? So we got Amazon, Microsoft, Google, Meta, all just battling it out here for tech supremacy. But yeah, if you haven't, it's worth checking out, right? Checking out Threads. I've got to turn off my notifications because it's legitimately a billion notifications if you turn the notifications on, because it's just everyone who hops on and starts following people. They do the same thing. So I wouldn't turn the noties on, but yeah, we'll see how it is, right? Pop in. It's literally kind of just like Twitter, but with a black and white vibe. So something to check out. People are going to love the hot new thing, the new hotness, as I've come to call it. But the real key is it going to hold, right? Is it going to hold water? Is it going to be a fad that's done by the end of the week? I don't know if you guys have heard of Be Real, but Be Real was something that came where random time of the day. So it might be midnight, it might be a.m., it might be 5 p.m., it might be 2 p.m. You take a picture of where you are, what you're doing, and it was all Be Real because it was like no filters, no nothing. You just post a picture of what you're doing, and then people can react to it with pictures. This was something that was kind of popular amongst people like my age and younger. So kind of like 30 and below was really like the Be Real sweet spot. A lot of people were like, oh, Be Real is the next big thing, but like it didn't really turn into the next big thing. Some people still use it, but definitely not what people thought it would be. So we'll see. Maybe it turns into a fad for a few months, maybe in a few weeks, or maybe it takes off and puts Twitter in the grave. But if I know Elon Musk, he doesn't really go down easily. So, right, we'll see another entertaining war that we get to keep our eyes on here. And by that, I'm not referring to the real war that's going on right now. I don't refer to those as entertaining, only talking about the tech wars that are going on. In terms of energy news, new members with only 13 countries currently part of the oil producer group, OPEC is looking to recruit new members to the alliance. Secretary General Haytham Al-Ghais wouldn't reveal the names of the candidates, but mentioned 4 countries he recently visited. They have to be a net oil exporter. They have to have similar goals as OPEC, he replied when asked about the requirements for becoming an OPEC member. Quote, I think many countries I just named actually fit this profile, so work in progress. Ministers attending the conference in Vienna also didn't announce any policies, but lauded new production cuts by Russia and Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia had already announced their production cuts. It looks like maybe Russia joined them in their production cuts. That's good news for the oil sector all in all. But it looks like they're looking for new members. So if you're a country that, is a net oil exporter, meaning you export more than you import, then who knows? You could go join the club. In terms of economic news here and economy news, FOMC minutes, some officials at the Federal Reserve's June meeting favored raising the key policy rate by 25 basis points, according to FOMC minutes, which cited a still tight labor market, stronger than expected economic activity, and persistently high inflation. On the other hand, quote, almost all participants judged it appropriate to maintain the target range at 5% to 5.25% at this meeting to give them more time to assess the impact of the tightening cycle on the economy. The minutes did little to move markets, with Wall Street's major averages ending slightly lower. Quote, the Fed may have a more hawkish stance on the issue of raising interest rates than previously anticipated, said investing group leader Daniel Jones. So to be honest, nothing really that we did not expect, and that's why it did little to move markets. So again, what really moves things is when there's a mismatch in expectations. If there's not a mismatch in expectations, then the market doesn't really care. Now, in terms of defense news, fortifying NATO amid objections from Turkey and Hungary, Sweden's bid to join NATO continues to be stalled, despite the U.S. reiterating its support for the Nordic country's membership. Turkey's holdup could impact its bid to buy F-16 fighter jets from the U.S., produced by Lockheed Martin, ticker LMT, as President Biden has suggested that Sweden's membership should be endorsed first. In the meantime, officials from Sweden and Turkey will meet at NATO headquarters today to evaluate Ankara's objections. President Erdogan has accused Stockholm of being too lenient on groups that his government views as terrorist entities and for allowing protests that include the burning of the Quran. So we're just down to like inter-group skirmishes right now, or intra-group skirmishes, which is just, annoying, but it's something that could stall orders for Lockheed Martin, which I'm sure they're not happy with. and something that we'll keep an eye on. But the fact that Sweden is even trying to join NATO and all of them are hustling and bustling to join NATO is very important in and of itself. In terms of today's markets, mostly red across the board here. In Asia, Japan, we're down 1.7%, Hong Kong down 3%, China down 0.5%, India up 0.5%, London down 0.3%, Paris down 1.8%, Frankfurt down 1.1%, the Dow down 0.4%, S&P down 0.5%, NASDAQ down 0.5%. Let's see here. Crude up 0.2%, gold up 0.2%, Bitcoin up 2.5%. Let's actually check on Bitcoin and see what they got going on here. So they had the beautiful retracement of that weekly inverse head and shoulders breakout. Now they look to be bull flagging on the daily. They broke the like kind of hourly downtrend that Bitcoin futures had last night, overnight, went up, and now they're selling back lower, possibly to retrace that. So if they retrace and hold, right, Bitcoin can hold there and start to rocket up again. But we'll see. Mainly kind of watching how we finish up on the daily and on the weekly. But it's been struggling around this like 3160 area, right? 31,700, 31,800. Seems to be a lot of sellers up there. So Bitcoin will have to accumulate the buyers necessary in order to break that next barrier to push higher. But it's definitely something that's on the radar, right? And as a result, we've got Coin, Mara, and Riot that are also on the radar as well. So those are some important tickers to take a look at: Coin, Mara, and Riot, so that you can play those crypto moves, but through the stock market. At 8:30 a.m., we got initial jobless claims. So let's check out what those were exactly. Okay. Let's see. 847. Okay, so U.S. initial jobless claims, actual 248K versus 239K previous. Estimated was 245K. So it looks like we had jobless claims that were more than expected. And let's see, U.S. continuous jobless claims, actual, so 1720, estimate 1734. So it looks like continuing jobless claims actual was less than expected, and then initial jobless claims actual was more than expected. It's hard to kind of parse out exactly what type of effect that will have, if any effect. But overall, we have markets pushing lower here this morning. Pre-market, we got SPY. SPY really seeing some selling here, and a little bounce, but not compared to what we're selling down at, as we've been kind of stalling around this 444 area on SPY and sort of progressively selling lower during the overnight period, extended hours period, and then filling that gap to the upside. So we'll see if we fill that gap to the upside again. Talked about that yesterday in pre-market analysis. That analysis came true. Paid very nicely, right? For SPY short-term calls, right? SPY 0-day calls, for SPY calls, even this Friday, right? Paid very nicely as we got that bounce. Q calls, right? QQQ paid even better. So make sure that you're definitely paying attention to that analysis and executing on it, acting on it. In terms of SPY, we could see a bounce in this kind of 440 area. If not 440, then 439. But this 440, 439 area is kind of prime bounce area, and that is where we are right now on SPY, 439 at 92. So again, not in SPY calls. I got no horse in this race. Got my money yesterday and made a nice clean exit, considering the fact that it is short week, right? Low volume week. But that's something to watch kind of headed into this morning. We could get another, gap fill to the upside here, especially if we get a nice bounce at 440. We dipped a little bit beneath 440 now, and we're kind of bouncing. Let's see if we can get back above. But it could be a nice little buy the dip situation at open, if we see some good strength. But of course, if we lose 440, then we can see 439. And once we hit that area, that'll be what I'm looking to kind of examine what to do next from there. But it is a holiday week. Like I say, historically, we do finish higher on holiday weeks. SPY has made up much more ground than this before. So I would not put it beyond SPY to just hit us with one rip day, right? It could be today and tomorrow. It could just be tomorrow. But it can happen. So just be on the lookout for it, be aware, of it, and kind of expect that when the market shows you what is possible, pay attention to those things. And that's what can allow you to catch these really, really monster moves. Because if you catch, SPY on a day, if you have 0 dates or even calls it expire 2 days out, and you get those at 440 and we head back up to test 444, like that is huge profit. So something to look at for sure. Be aware of it. Don't get caught off guard, right? Where you miss the rip. Know that the rip could come. Understand that as a possibility. And then that way you can plan accordingly. But yeah, excited to see what the market gives us here today, this morning. Let me get back into the newsletter. So yeah, the biggest thing was kind of initial jobless claims. We also got ADP jobs report at 8:15 a.m. I feel like it's not really as necessary to go over it just because we're already seeing how the market is moving from it, right? We dropped more. So all in all, between the ADP jobs report and the initial jobless claims, market didn't like whatever the combined effects of those was. We get PMI composite final at 9:45 a.m., 10 a.m., ISM service index, job openings and labor turnover survey at 10 a.m. So a few little pieces of data here at 10 a.m. You can see some, 1 minute spikes in one direction or another. What else is happening? Will Microsoft join the $3 trillion club in 2024? Some analysts think so. JetBlue, ticker JBLU, shifts focus to Spirit, whose ticker is SAVE, merger after DOJ ruling. UPS slips after union talks over new labor contract breakdown. Nike among top Dow losers as post-earnings sell-off continues. Moderna, ticker mRNA, signs deal in China to develop mRNA medicines. Cassava Sciences, whose ticker is SAVA, Alzheimer's drug outperforms in small trial. Bank of America plans 9% dividend hike. Talks with Fed continue. Intel, ticker INTC, seems on target to regain tech leadership, Northland says. And then Exxon, ticker XOM, Exxon's meager bonuses make attracting more traders difficult. And then BlackRock, BLK, seeks to make Bitcoin trading less costly. And that's according to Larry Fink. So we're going to wrap it up, put a bow on it, and have that take us out for the pre-market prep session of July 6th, 2023. July's been pretty good so far to start. I cannot complain, right? Having some nice scalp opportunities, a few nice day trade opportunities, right? When we talk about Airbnb, when we talk about coins. So there have been a lot of nice swing trade opportunities we've taken advantage of, some nice day trade scalp opportunities. But again, holiday week, low volume, right? You have to expect the correct things in order to make the correct moves. And I think that's what's allowed us to remain profitable this week and just make the right moves, right? And taking profit with prudence. That's always a big thing. If you don't take profit, you quite literally do not get paid. So make sure you're doing that and doing that with conviction out here in these market streets. Other than that, everybody, congrats on getting 1% better. You got at minimum that just by being here. Now make sure you don't let that go to waste. Go out, use that, execute, bring home the bacon, and have a great day. We've got Q&A tonight, 7 p.m. on Zoom, for all of my Facebook group members. So make sure that you're there. We'll go over all the trades from this week and any questions that I've received as well. And we'll continue to get better and, have that iron sharpen iron. So everybody have a great rest of the day. I'll see you back here tomorrow morning for our last pre-market prep session of the week. Have a good one.